Greetings and salutations, I'm the Raven. This is SteamWorld Heist. We're going back to this. Joining me is J.K. Lantern.
I am going to steal some robot hair.
Also, you may note, most of our bots start spotting a particular type of headwear.
Oh god, we're in the Top Hat clan.
Yes, we are. Next up, StarprincessHLC.
Don't forget to robot spay and robot neuter your Zoids.
You would do that to Port Valentine? And finally, but definitely not least, is Yoko.
I mean, it's nice that they have hats, but where are their clothes?
Well, for Valentine, we can see he's got his waistcoat on.
That looks like a piece of armor, not a cloth.
For most of the call here, you possibly won't recognise most of these bots. We had a fair bit of progress while you were gone.
Okay.
And we ran into a level that we failed twice. So that called for some off-screen grinding, so now everyone's level 4.
That definitely didn't happen during any other LP I was involved in at any point in the past year. What are you talking about?
No, it wasn't like that on the now defunct Guild of Dungeoneering, where I provided up to unlock the Cardomancer.
I will eat your head, sir.
Wouldn't you rather eat M&Ms?
I ate the M&M, so now I have to eat head.
Lantern's mom might have bought me an entire giant package of peanut M&Ms while I was visiting him.
Yeah, the entire time leading up, she's like, what does Star like to eat? I'm like, well, let's see, she likes popcorn, she likes M&Ms. And like the day before Star got here, Mom comes with like a family-sized bag of peanut M&Ms.
Hey, we made a good chunk of it. By the time I left, there was only like a handful left.
I definitely finished them off for you.
Well, it makes sense, otherwise they'd melt.
Mm-hmm.
They were supposed to come with me for the trip, but we forgot them.
Yeah, my mom was like, you can take the rest of them with you, and we were loading Star up at the airport, and then so like after she gets through security and everything, we're in the car, I look back and like, I forgot to give her the M&Ms, didn't I?
Well,
Whoops.
That would have been so handy when I had to rush through freaking flights.
Oh, and by the way.
Bazooka!
Bazooka!
It's a blacksmith RPG. Do you know why the blacksmith was arrested?
Why?
He committed forgery.
Sorry, I love you.
Star that's entirely grown worthy. Never change.
I know there was an RPG for the PS1 where you were a blacksmith, and one of the big mechanics of it was like, you power up and you can create new items depending on which characters you date. I can't remember the name of the game. I am like 75% sure that it probably wasn't actually very good. But I remember little teenage Lantern being like, oh boy, you can date the hot anime chicks. I should get this game. And then I didn't.
Maybe it was for the best.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, they moved them around. Yeah, one of the features of this game is usually generated levels. Or at least, oh no. Leave him alone, leave him alone!
We just noticed they're called the cow boats.
Yeah?
Because of course they are. Ivansky.
I suppose our last recording session. If there's anyone to give him a voice, it's Sirat.
That is a very Surat character.
It is true. Surat plays Big Russian.
God,
Snake.
my English has gone through the window today.
Okay, you're vulnerable. These things we don't want to destroy close up.
Mhm.
Are they a bomb?
They're a bomb.
Oof. Missed.
They're very much the bomb.
Da bomb.
Now there is a phrase I haven't heard in a long time.
Well, probably because you're too old now. I mean, I say that. My brain refuses to acknowledge that I'm over 19 now. For the past 3 years, it has refused to acknowledge that fact. I am 21, damn it.
I mean, now you can drink in America,
Doesn't mean I will.
bro.
I can't for the life of me bear the taste of alcohol.
That is fair. I remember when I was at William and Mary, the guy who was like the stage left director of the production of Gypsy I was involved with. He was just a hair younger than me, but he was 18. He was also Canadian. So like we're hanging out and he's like, "Man, I can't get used to the fact that I can't order beer here." And I'm like, "Wait, what? Oh right, you can do that in Canada. Sucks to be you."
Yeah, no, I've tried more than a couple times. I try every so often to have a glass of wine, and every time I'm like, nope, I can't.
That's legit.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of wine. I could give you recommendations of things to try, but if you don't want to drink, you don't have to drink. You know, like I'm glad that like being a non-drinker is more and more socially acceptable out there.
It is more socially acceptable than smoking sometimes, which is weird. Like, you more easily get the phrase, come on, live a little, when you refuse to smoke than when you refuse to drink. Then again, I don't know if you've heard, but the situation in Japan with alcohol is kind of strange.
I have not heard of this.
So basically, Japan's treasury is getting a bit low to their tastes, and in order to redynamize, is this the word?
Revitalize?
Revitalize, yeah, the economy. They're basically doing large-scale advertisements aimed to young adults to consume alcohol.
Because they tax it.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I think I remember hearing about this, and I'm like, wow, that's that's a decision? Sure, why not?
We're getting
And again,
broke! Alcoholism!
it is a cultural thing here, like to drink with your workmates.
Mhm.
Like, it's also one thing that, first of all, I've said a couple times, but going to work in Japan is definitely not a good thing if you're a foreigner, unless you are a teacher, and specifically a language teacher.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very common to go out after work with your colleagues or even your boss, and usually the boss has a say in what the team drinks.
Yeah.
And if you don't drink alcohol, that can actually sour pretty easily your relationship with your boss.
Wow.
Japanese business interactions in general are fascinating. I remember in both my business management course and then longer ago in my modern East Asian history course, we talked a little bit about that. My East Asian history professor back in the day had previously been like the designated American we have at this branch of Mitsubishi. But like it's just a very different culture from what Americans are used to, at least.
From what most Westerners, even as a French person, a lot of things in Japanese culture can cause a huge culture shock. Though there is one thing, custom orders, like when you go to a restaurant, mostly taking the wide-known example of Starbucks drinks. We don't do custom drinks in France. You do that even less in Japan. Like, for example, asking for a milk replacement in Japan is usually not gonna work.
And that's like, I know that's also true in a couple other European countries. Like it's a very big thing in America, but like I know in a lot of especially the higher end restaurants and locations, like if you ask for, oh, I want this, but can you put sauce on the side, or can you take off the tomato, or whatever, the chef may get offended because, are you saying that this thing I've crafted is not good enough for you?
I know that depending on the restaurant, like in France, you wouldn't do that in a high-class restaurant. Like, no, when you go to a high-class restaurant, you respect the work of the chef. But if you go to a more brand line restaurant, and that you ask, pretty simple example, that you ask for a Big Mac at McDonald's, but true story, because I had a friend that back then didn't like onions, and so she would ask, can you remove the onions from the burger? And they would do it. Like, it's not a big deal, you know. But yeah, if you do that in a gastronomy restaurant, they're not gonna ask you to take the door, but they're going to politely ask you to refer to the menu.
Yeah. And like, I've gotten to the point in my age and my social awkwardness that like when I was a kid and I ordered from McDonald's, like I would order special things all the time, like, can you take off the pickles or whatever. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I either go like, I'm just not going to order that thing that has the thing I don't like, or I'm just going to eat around it, because like I don't want to cause the person making my food more problems. They're working hard enough.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
I mean, you are a special case in the sense that you have a fuck ton of allergies. And I know that even, like, again, I think in gastronomy restaurants, because it usually works on reservations, you can ahead of time send them, like, you have to ask them when you make a reservation, but you have to send them ahead of time a list of your allergies so that they can, in advance, prepare you a menu that will be more suited to you.
Yeah.
That is a thing you can do, but only in the case of reservations. And, long time reservations, not in the next 24 hours.
I would like to point out that we just got the Power Glove.
It's so bad.
Time for us to play Zelda 2. Oh yeah.
Is that the exact same thing? Yes, it is. Get rid of that. And Billy, also this.
Crippler.
It's a squirt gun. That's literally a super soaker.
Now, I've never actually seen it used. And I think
I had that exact same thing as a kid.
I also think it's time to give that thing a whirl. No, it's
Watch
not.
out! We filled this up with pee.
I remember seeing something on either Facebook or Tumblr where it was talking about your weapon will sound more threatening the simpler it is. Like, for example, Gizmaluke's hammer of crippling. Well, sure, he has his hammer of crippling, he has his hammer of bonking that guy, he has his hammer of mild discomfort. Sure, he's got a whole host of hammers. But if you run into a weapon that's just the fuckbringer, note the definite article, it's oh, there is only one of that, and it does its job well. Crap.
I'm now concerned if we ever do Blaze in the Dark, even just for a one-off, you are going to play the, was it the Slick? Or the Leeds? You're going to make that thing.
Behold, the Negotiator, available at GrummelNet.
Hey, but if you imagine you have a is it called a 6-round Colt?
Yeah.
Imagine you have a 6-round Colt that you genuinely call the Negotiator.
The Negotiator is unironically my favorite nickname for any weapon. I call this one the Negotiator. We're gonna discuss our problems.
Wait.
When you say that,
Wait.
and then one of the people in your campaign has something called a really cool bow.
Fun giving her that.
Okay, but imagine we start a whole innator kind of joke, but it's specifically for weapons.
Here's the ventilator. Have fun with that.
But then you got stuff like the procrastinator. I'll kill you tomorrow.
Actually, one of the magical items I gave to my in-person group. It's an item I found online. It is a cursed weapon. The really big-ass butter knife. It turns into any sort of bladed weapon that you want it to, and as long as you're holding it, you have proficiency in whatever you turn it into. I gave it a +1 just so that it's a little better. If you turn it into something that's thrown, it'll come back to you. Wow, that sounds great. How is it cursed? Well, you now can no longer eat bread. If you eat bread, you feel sick and have disadvantage for the next hour.
You become gluten intolerant.
I gave someone this magical item, and the really cool bow. You get a +2 to attack and damage, but the bow also shouts every time you fire it. Depending on how well you do, it shouts different things.
Oh my god, go on.
Like if you hit, it's like awesome, bodacious, righteous. If you miss, it's like bummer, whiff, lame. If you crit fail, it's like, oh, that sucks, dude. And you no longer have the +2 for the rest of combat.
No, wait, oh, that you could have done this better, like crit fail, that's tough, buddy. Or
Yeah, I may absolutely do that, but yeah,
Like,
it's impossible. It's impossible to do a sneak attack with this bow because it's shouting. It is shouting at the top of its non-existent lungs.
that's amazing. Like, I have also another like, how'd you call it? Voice line for general fail, which comes from Final Fantasy XIV, and it's sloppy.
I could use sloppy.